That finishes the first section on sustainability. Now we're going to move into surveillance. Now, to be sustainable, you have to know what you're sustaining. So you need to have inventory and you need to be able to control it. So surveillance is about data collection. There's several things that I'm not going to talk about all of these, but the first 4. 5G, we've already mentioned 5G, but it allows for two-way communication through smart meters. If you can avoid getting a smart meter, avoid it. The smart grid allows you to measure everything in real time. We will soon be given an allocation of how much energy we are allowed to use, and then if you exceed that, they will actually be able to remotely turn it off. They'll know when you turn your kettle on, when you turn your TV on. The other thing is, if you haven't ever looked up, ever Googled the Internet of Things, that will give you a great insight in what the future will look like. 5G also is used to monitor your travel movements. Street lamps will include the cameras. It's a big part of control. Already in America, cameras record occupancy in the car and how far you've travelled. Its restricting mobility is designed to force people out of their cars into mass transit systems, all with facial recognition cameras installed. The future plan for sustainability, of course, is to eliminate cars. They have lots of ways of discouraging this, obviously demanding that we have electric cars, which are very expensive and not very effective if you have to go a long distance. Increasing costs of regos and fuels. Already in Melbourne, they have approved the planning of apartment buildings without car parks. So it's not just a thought bubble, it's actually being put into place. There's another very important video I suggest you watch, which is called China's Digital Dictatorship. And it's all about credits, social credits. And if you haven't realised, that's exactly what the no jab, no pay is with vaccinations. If you don't get vaccinated, you don't get the money. So digital recognition is already being implemented for Sydney commuters. They scan their face to access the services. And of course, we already have digital recognition for our number plates when we come in and out of car parks. I'll change pace here and talk about fishermen for a minute. VMS monitoring, this is a photo of a chap called Marty Bella and the Green Shirts people, and I'm in there somewhere. And we're in the front of Parliament House and we were protesting what VMS monitoring is all about. The fishermen, the local fishermen, had all have to buy these monitoring. They then have to pay a monthly fee for them. And what it does, they have to report in as soon as they catch a fish. Now, obviously, they have the GPS, they have the exact location, they have the time of day, and then when they catch a fish, they have to tell them the type of fish, the size of fish, etc. And it's an outrageous assault on our local fishermen because often all this information is what you would call family is intellectual property. But of course, the fishermen are being attacked commercially in a lot of other ways. And once they're all gone, the government have the data, so they don't need it. The government will be able to give all that data to the compliant, chosen global corporations. Another one for surveillance is DNA and health records. Who sent off their DNA to find out their family tree? Yeah, well, have you thought about who gets the data? So DNA testing company, there's Ancestry.com and there's 23andMe. Well, 23andMe made headlines back in 2018 when they announced that they would share their consumers' genetic data with the pharmaceutical giant GlaxoSmithKline as part of a $300 million deal. Can you imagine the swift enforcement of eugenics and racial superiority if your DNA is already in the hands of the power brokers? Or think about this, Big Pharma have your DNA and Big Pharma make the vaccinations. The next section is settlements.